Hey everyone, welcome into Dom Time. Thanks for joining us tonight with Dom Giordano. You know, it seems to me that things seem to come together after a long process and long years. Tonight we're going to talk about a right to die bill in New Jersey, so-called right to die bill. Our guests may differ on how they would characterize this bill. Vermont is talking about this, or as I understand it, passing something like this. Oregon has done things along these lines. And any number of states are looking to do this. We'd love to get you involved. I happen to know and am friendly with the New Jersey Assemblyman who has been moving this bill through the House. And I think he's a good guy and well-intentioned. We'll find out, though, if the bill meets the needs of people in New Jersey or not in very difficult decisions. Joining us tonight, two guests are David C. Levin. David is the Executive Director of Compassion and Choices of New Jersey. Welcome to Dom Time.
Of New York, actually.
Of New York, I'm sorry, that's right, from New York.
And nice to be here, Dom.
And Ann Studholme is an attorney, and Ann, you were the first non-disabled witness for a group called Not Dead Yet on this bill.
Yes, my understanding is I am. Not Dead Yet is a grassroots group. They're very active nationally, as is ADAPT. And they're the other disability rights group on this bill. Normally, they have disabled activists really advocating on their own. This one happened to be, there wasn't enough time to get that together. It requires some physical preparation. So I testified on behalf of my clients at Senator Brazili's hearing, Assemblyman.
David, I want to start with you because I saw Inquirer coverage of this, and it said that David Levin, an expert on advance directives and end-of-life policy, says the bill does not force doctors to participate. So what is your understanding that this bill does that advances where we are now in New Jersey?
It's an extremely important bill, Dom, because what it does is it gives people who are terminally ill and mentally competent the ability to ask their physician for a prescription of life-ending medicines, which they can decide to take or not take.
Now let me ask, does the physician get involved? Is it assisted at any point in this bill? That's my understanding. A physician has the choice to be involved in this.
Well, interestingly enough, generally speaking, the physician's only involvement is to prescribe the medicines. That's been the experience in Oregon, where they've had 15 years now of data, which has been very, very positive.
But if someone has, David, ALS or something like that, I'm reading some of the commentary, the fear is we go over that line, how do they administer then? The doctor is involved.
Well, the person has to be terminally ill, a diagnosis that the person is likely to die within a reasonable degree of medical certainty within 6 months. And that has to be confirmed by a second physician. Now, you cannot always exactly predict when someone is going to die.
But if that happens, I'm trying to lock you down.
Sure, please.
Is there a doctor component to this in assisting in any way other than prescribing? Is that the assistance as you understand it?
That is the assistance that is provided as a general proposition. The physician must also, though, tell the patient that they have certain rights to palliative care, to pain management, and to hospice care, all of things which should be told to patients in any event who are terminally ill, but oftentimes are not told to patients. So actually this bill is an advancement in a number of different ways from what the current practices of many physicians. So if this law is enacted, people will have rights which they have not previously had to end their lives in a peaceful, dignified manner, which has been the case in Oregon for 15 years and Washington State for 4 years.
Okay, but let me turn to Ann. Ann, you testified for your clients as the attorney in this, and the disabled are very wary of this, to put it mildly. Why so if this advances us from where we are now in New Jersey?
Well, for one thing, I wouldn't say the disabled necessarily.
Right.
Certain well-organized members of the disability rights community, and that's important to say every human being has their own thoughts on this. A couple of things. First, when you introduced it, you mentioned right to die. I think that may possibly have been because the bill is a physician-assisted suicide. David's group likes to call it the Death with Dignity Act. I did want to say it's not about the right to die.
Well, actually, the bill says that assisted suicide is not permissible, and it's very clear in the bill itself. It prohibits assisted suicide.
The bill does a lot. New Jersey already prohibits assisted suicide. David mentioned that people could have some rights under this. In New Jersey, it is a crime to assist someone to commit suicide.
Doctor or anyone else, doesn't matter.
Well, it depends on what you say about a doctor. Normally, doctor or anyone else, it doesn't matter. The one big exception to that is what is now being called palliative sedation. And if there's one thing, I don't know which camera is on, but that the viewers really should take away from this is that palliative sedation is a development of medicine that most people aren't aware of. I wasn't aware of before I started this work. Palliative sedation means if you tell your doctor, I am in extreme agony, I'm suffering bad pain.
Right.
And it's connected with a disease which probably will lead to your death.
Yes.
The doctor can say, well, you know, I can stop your pain.
Right.
It will involve rendering you unconscious. It's palliative sedation. You will be unconscious. If I bring you back out, you'll probably come back into pain. So unless you want that to happen, if you say, I'm in agony, and I mean, I've been through childbirth. Pain's so bad you cannot speak, you can just moan. If you don't want to come back into it, you have to say goodbye now.
All right,
say goodbye.
So we got what that is. So what's the objection to the bill, though? I still haven't heard fully the objection. So what's the fear?
The objection to the bill is don't call it a right to die bill. Any patient at any time has the right to refuse medical care.
All right, so you don't see this as an advancement. Is there another problem, another fear?
Another problem is that people tend to request this in ignorance. As David mentioned, everyone should know it's not about pain management. In fact, everyone at the Rutgers-Campton Law Symposium, and he's nodding, I want to make sure the camera's picking this up, said people do not have to fear dying in pain. That if physicians...
Do you agree with that?
No, not exactly. The vast majority of people do not have to fear dying in pain. And palliative sedation is a wonderful option for some people, but it shouldn't be the only option because...
Let me go to the break, too, to lock this down. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to set this up for viewers with you, David.
Sure.
So does this mean, too, if you have someone who's in physical agony, I read various things in here, there's a fear, but they're not terminal, that this is going to be a slippery slope. It opens the door to that. No?
It will not be a slippery slope because it has not been in Oregon. With 15 years of experience, there is no evidence that there is any movement towards a slippery slope. The only thing that happens in Oregon is that terminally ill people now have this right to make a decision for themselves, and that's what this is about. And your viewers should be cognizant of this. This is about a right that people should have to make for themselves. And I would ask your viewers, would you want to have this right for yourself? The right to ask your physician, if you are terminally ill and mentally competent and suffering greatly, would you want to be able to ask your physician for life and medicine?
And let's go back to suffering, because I've just heard him say something different from what he said before.
More response to this. I'll bang my gavel down. It's Dom time. We'll take your calls on this, and we'll talk with our guests coming up about what New Jersey appears possibly poised to do among many states. That's straight ahead on Dom Time.